Hi Color Kids, this is Katie Carty-Hiley from RainbowBrite.net. Welcome back to the Rainbow Land Museum, and it's time for another comic review. That's right, issue number 4 of the Rainbow Brite comic by Dynamite is out as of yesterday, February 20th. And I was super excited because we had to wait a little longer than 4 weeks to get our hands on this one. And let me tell you why. Again, no conspiracies going on, but there is a new artist. Not the colorist. The colorist is staying the same. It's still Valentina, but the line artist is now Xenia Pamphil. That was Brittany Williams leading up until this issue, so issues 1 through 3 were done by Brittany, but she had other obligations and just could not fit this into her schedule anymore. So they had to find someone else, and Jeremy was able to point Dynamite into the direction of Xenia because she works with him on his Raven the Pirate Princess series. So he already knew she was a quality artist and could pick this up and do it no problem, and he was right. Because she's amazing. It's fantastic. But that's probably why this one took a little bit longer to come out. Was just because there was a change in artist and she had to have a little time to ramp up. But she did an amazing job. So I just want to mention that, and then I'll get into it. And let me also say real quick, I just finished recording like a probably over 50-minute long video about this issue because there's so much amazing information in it that I kind of just went crazy and got off into some scientific weeds and went down some rabbit holes. So I'm gonna do a shorter version. What I'm thinking I might do is just save that longer one for like my Patreon sponsors. Because nobody wants to watch that except for the real diehards that want to know my every little thought on this issue. But I also feel like I gave away a little too much, and I don't want to do that because you really need to pick this up for yourself. Because my explanations were all over the place. I mean, I got it out, but it's sometimes hard to remember which page things were said on. So there was a lot of flipping back and forth and finding what I was trying to say and exactly how they said it because I wanted to get my facts straight, etc. So I will release that to some folks that are over on my Patreon, but I'm going to make a shorter version for everyone else. I will try to keep this under half an hour at least. Okay, so well, let me just say real quick, because I just mentioned this new artist, and she's, like I said, the internal artist, not the colorist, but the one who is actually drawing the shapes, drawing all the lines that the colorist then goes with, and colors in. And she did an amazing job of taking Brittany's style and just building right on top of it. It's not different. I mean, I can't say it's not a tiny bit different. It's slightly different because it's a different artist. So of course she's going to have her own slight take on how she draws and how she wants things to look. So I think it would be unreasonable to expect it to look exactly like the first 3. But it's so close that if I had not told you that the artist changed, you probably you would have no idea. That's how great she was able to copy Brittany's style and continue with it, is that if I had just opened this up and not been told to look for, a new staff person on this issue, I would not have even known. I wouldn't have thought twice. I would have just skipped right by the title page because I would think it was all the same people. Everyone else is the same, but new artist. And let me give you her Twitter username because she's on there and she's so sweet, and I've already interacted with her a little bit. She seems really genuinely excited to be on this project, so let's all give her some love. She is at Strange Space Owl on Twitter. That's Xenia Pamphil. So yeah, definitely look her up. She's great. She's amazing already, and I barely even talked to her, but I love her work, and I love her attitude. So here we go. So in this issue, if you remember at the end of the last one, Red Flare, it's going to be really hard for me not to say Red Butler, but I'm going to do it. Red Flare just rescued Whisk from falling off the edge of the Red Mesas, and he's like, so you're supposed to be some kind of hero? Because Twink, in the very short amount of time that he ran to get Red Flare, well, I guess it would be short because we'll find out later why, how Red Flare got there so quickly, told him, hey, you need to come help save this person because they are the hero that's going to save Rainbow Land. So he's already like, wait, this kid? You're some kind of hero that's going to save Rainbow Land? And she's like, no, what? Huh? What are you talking about? So Twink has already set her up in Red's mind as the savior of Rainbow Land, and she is still not buying into it yet. Because this beautiful, wonderful, humble little Whisk is still just being herself and being humble and being like, I don't know about all that yet. Like, maybe, but right now I just need to help these people that are in need of help. So that's what I'm going to do. So, but actually before she says that, we get a bunch more exposition and it's amazing. So if I go into all of it again, it's going to be another hour episode, so I won't do that. But we do find out that there are 7 platform lands, is what they're called. And each one, for each one is a different color. We find out that there are 7 tribes of sprites. So each color is a different tribe, but they all work together for the good of Rainbow Land. And they are the original inhabitants of that world. They are the indigenous species to Rainbow Land, are the sprites. And up until there have been, dangers presented, they were the ones that took care of everything, having to do with the color prisms, the power prisms, and the Great Prism, I believe, yeah. The Great Prism is the one that stands above Rainbow Castle, and it's like just a clear standard prism like you would expect that can refract all the colors. Each of the other prisms is a color that corresponds with that land. But anyway, we find out more about the legend of the original Rainbow Brite, who is able to wield white Starlight, that's Light, to fight back shadow and uncover truth. But yeah, using the Star Scepter and the color belt, she's able to, use all the different colors and all their powers to do all the things. But clearly, Red Flare has never met a Rainbow Brite before. So in his timeline, being a red color guardian, they haven't needed one. And this kind of goes on to summarize that, basically. And what's funny, too, is that Red Flare himself has forgotten all of this. But I guess he didn't really need to know until it got this bad, where all the color guardians and sprites, apart from Twink, and Red himself, have been captured. This is when they need that hero again. That's when they need this epic Rainbow Brite. So Red Flare has just completely forgotten that this is even a thing. And Twink is like, seriously? I've only told you and Romeo 12 times, but I'll tell you again. And I have to show you this panel because it's hilarious. This is Twink getting super mad that he has to explain it again. And what's even funnier, like, okay, super angry, like, oh my god. And then the very next panel, like, so, here we go. Just a big smile on his face. So he doesn't stay mad. He gets flustered. Just like our old lovable Twink from the 80s cartoon did. He was super flustered a lot of the time because people were not working up to his standards or his pace. He's just like, come on, get to it, get to work. So anyway, he's explaining more about how all of this works for the benefit of the reader and Red Flare himself, because he's forgotten apparently. And Red's like, well, she's just a kid. She doesn't look like some ancient hero to me. And Twink's like, I didn't say she was the original Rainbow Brite, just like I don't think you were the first red color guardian. So this is just like more validation to the theory I think we already had, that Rainbow Brite is a moniker that can be held by different people over time. And the red, or not just the red, but all of the color guardians have not just been this one person. It's several beings have been color guardians over the millennia or whatever. So yeah, Red's just the most recent one, and he knows the other current color guardians, but he clearly doesn't even know who the previous ones were. I mean, they might always have the same name. Like, Red Flare may be the moniker for... Actually, yeah, it must be, because he even says in here that Red Flare is not his given name. He makes fun of... Well, not makes fun of, but, like, Whisk thinks that's his real name, and she's just like, that's an odd name, and he's like, that's not my real name. That's... You really think I was named Red, and I come from the family Flare? Yeah. So we get confirmation also that Red Flare must be just the new moniker for the Red Color Guardian. Let's see here. So again, he's like, I don't know if I believe you, Twink. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think about this. And, you know, Wisp and Twink are kind of asking a lot of him to help rescue the Green Color Guardian, where it seems like so far he's been trying to just lay low and not get captured himself. But he's like, okay, Wisp, tell me why I should follow you, or why should I help, basically. And in true Wisp humble fashion, she just is herself and says, you know, like, I don't know if I believe all of what Twink is saying either, but all I know is that people need help, and I want to help them, and if I left without helping them, I would feel like a horrible human being. So I'm gonna help, and it would help me if I had your help, basically. I'm paraphrasing. But she's just like, yeah, like, I'm gonna do this with or without you, but if we work together, I think we could get it done even faster or better or whatever. So he's like, okay, cool. We'll do that. And it's really cute. He's always calling her kid. What does Google think I just asked it? I don't know. My phone thinks I just said, okay, Google. I didn't. No, okay, it didn't hear me that time. Yeah, so he agrees. And they're thinking, yeah, oh gosh. See, this is where I start wanting to get into the weeds again, because they mention that the color guardian that is being held on the red platform land, so on red mesas, is the green one. They do not mention that person's name, although Red not so affectionately refers to them as old green thumbs. So we can kind of guess what their power is to do with making things grow, making things green, you know, life, etc. But Red thinks that power is super boring and he doesn't want it. But it's interesting in this mythos that the color guardians can only deal with or handle or whatever color prisms, or power prisms, sorry, or both. I mean, they help out with both. Of their own color. It's actually said that he picked up a green one once and it made him feel horrible. It literally was sucking the red power out of him. And it's mentioned somewhere, I would have to be flipping around again to find it, so I'm not going to do that to you, that opposite colors are like the worse for each other. Worse, yeah. So maybe if he picked up an orange power prism, it wouldn't be as bad. I mean, he still wouldn't gain any power from it, but maybe it wouldn't make him feel really terrible. But because green is literally opposite of red, it's like the worst possible color he could pick up, and the worst possible place they could have put the green color guardian is on the red world. And Twink is super mad that they've done that, and he's just like, how dastardly, which is great. I love that word. And he even said, oh yeah, and they're holding the color guardian in the in the mines? Do they call them color mines? Prism mines, sorry. Should have known that. The power prism mines are being used as dungeons. And Twist, oh my gosh. I either say Twink when I mean Wisp, or Wisp when I mean Twink, and now we've got, what did I just say? Whatever. Twink is basically saying, oh my gosh, we built our own traps, because there's only one entrance and exit to the power prison mines. So they are trying to make up a plan of how to get in there and rescue the green color guardian, because there are all of these guards out front. There are these lizard, reptilian looking bad guys, guards, standing outside. But there's a distraction. Before they get that far, they hear a voice, and Wisp is like, who's that? And Red's like, oh god, not again. And it's Starlight, you guys! We finally meet Starlight! And he's amazing! I love his colorful locks. And look, he's got like little tufts of hair down here, like Skydancer had in the old mythos, so I like that. And then it's colorful. I mean, it's not just like white tufts, it's like rainbow tufts on his legs, and I love that so much. So again, he's introducing himself in the series basically the same way he did in the original. I'm Starlight, the most magnificent stallion in the galaxy, nay, the universe. Yes, it is spelled nay, as in the horse version of nay, and I love that so much, Jeremy. I laughed way too hard at that. So he's like, oh my gosh, you guys need to leave me alone. But the guards are trying to capture him, I guess because he's another colorful, magical creature. He can't just be let to run loose. The King of Shadows wants him to be captured as well. But Wisp wants to help the horse, obviously, because for one, it's a talking horse that she's never seen before, and she loves the idea of talking horses, and apparently always wanted to put talking horses in the stories that her and Willow used to write, but Willow wouldn't let her because she said that's a silly idea, there's no such thing. So for those of you who are wondering if Willow is ever going to come back up in the comics, yes, she is mentioned several times in this issue. You don't see her, she herself is not present in this issue, but she's mentioned several times, so yeah, Wisp has not forgotten her best friend by any means, and she even wishes she was there at one point she has this question in her mind, she's like, Willow would know the answer to this. It's great. But yeah, so talking horse, beautiful rainbow mane, she wants to go save the horse, even though Red is telling her, like, you really don't, that horse is mean, he's not gonna be your friend, he's not gonna let you ride him, and she's like, ride him? I just wanted to go be his friend and talk to him. Like, I wouldn't just ride him without asking permission, which I thought was adorable. Cause yeah, I guess in the original, I can't remember how that quite works. Oh, that's right. They fall on him. Cause they save Starlight from the ice, and then lightning and birds and stupid things, and they fall, like Starlight falls down the cliffside, and then they're falling behind him, and then they land on his back, her and Twink, and then they just continue on. So she doesn't have to ask his permission in the original, she just lands there, and he's okay with it, so they go with it. But in this one, she's like, I wouldn't dare just jump on a talking horse without asking if it's okay. I just love it so much. So, but she realizes she can't go rescue this horse, even though Red is telling her not to, she's going to do it anyway. But she realizes she can't do it because she doesn't have any power in her Star Scepter. It's run out. So this is when we find out, well, we already knew this, but I think Twink reminds Red that this hero that they're looking for should be able to wield all of the colors and their powers. So to test that theory, he pulls out a little red power prism, and it basically gets sucked into the Star Scepter. Like, he's like holding it one second, and then the Star Scepter is being drawn to it the next. I don't think he throws it. And she even says, I think, like, the Star Scepter, yeah, it's pulling me to it. So yeah, they just kind of, it's like magnets, like bunk. And then the Star Scepter like just absorbs it, and then this red whoosh goes around Wisp, and she turns into this version of Wisp. Which, there's not really a name for that. It's just, that's what she looks like when she's only wielding red color, red power, whatever. Which is adorable. And I love the colors, all that rainbow behind her. Like, yes, please, more of that. Love it. But again, they do such a good job. Valentina still doing a great job of balancing bright colors like this, and then pages like this where it's just like one or two colors, because they're still in this state of gloom and trying to rescue the color and all this. So your eyes are not getting assaulted by too many colors, even though I don't think there is such a thing, but some people might. But anyway, so she absorbs the red color, and then Red's like, high five, and she goes to do it, and like completely just runs all over the place and falls down. I'm like, what just happened? So she didn't know that the power of the red color in this world is super speed. So that's what Red Flare's power is he's a speedster. And now she's a speedster because she has absorbed that power into her Star Scepter, and she's using it to be Red Bright, whatever you want to call her. So what they end up doing is using her rescue of Starlight as a bit of a distraction. So she goes on her own to do that, and she does. She's able to fight off the lizard people and get the ropes off of his neck and tie them up with the ropes instead. And during this whole time, she's talking to Starlight and introducing herself and telling him, like, hey, I'm here to rescue you. And I don't know if she actually asks him for any help. No, actually, I don't think she does. She's just like, hey, I'll get you out of this. Which he's obviously happy for her to do. Oh, that's right. Okay, so after she frees him, she runs to the prison mines and is like, hey, bad guys, I got your horse. Ha ha ha, nanny nanny boo boo. And runs away again. So they'll chase her and leave the opening of the mines free for Red Flare and Twink to hopefully go in and get the green color guardian. But yeah, Starlight's like, you're running the wrong way, what's happening? And then she runs back past him and they run together for a while to draw the guards away. But again, oh yeah, she says, my name is Whisk. This is all part of a bigger plan. We're going to break out the green color guard. And he's like, what is this we? I didn't volunteer to do this. Like, don't pull me into your drama. So she's trying to convince him, but he's not having it. He's really just looking out for number one, himself. And he sadly disappoints her and me and runs away. I gotta tell you, I had to read this twice to not be super mad at Starlight, and I'm still a little upset with him. But the first time I read this comic, I was like, oh my gosh, why does Jeremy say that Starlight's his favorite character? This guy's a jerk. He's not like the Starlight I know at all. But second read through, when I took my time, I was just like, okay, I get it now. You just kind of have to slow down, read make sure you pay attention to the bold words to really get the tone of how he's speaking and what he's saying. Try to hear it in your head, and then you're like, okay, I get this guy. And one of the last things he says is, I don't need your guilt trip. So that at least implies to me that there might potentially be a guilt trip to be had in future. Maybe he will repay the favor, but he's telling her, don't expect me to. So we don't know right now if he's going to come back, but fingers crossed. But she's very sad because she was hoping they were going to be best friends, and they're not. So she, sheds a few tears and it's like, goodbye, beautiful horse, and runs back to join Red at the prison mines. So, yeah, Red's like, so, where's your new best friend? And she's like, he was injured, and I told him to go away. And he's like, yeah, right. She's like, okay, fine, he ran away like you knew he would. But before they can get much into that conversation, another bad guy shows up. It's like, just when we think, oops, I better hurry, my battery's dying. Just when we think that they're free and clear and might be able to rescue the Green Color Guardian, another bad guy shows up. Herky Jerky! This is a robot that was made by Murky Dizzle himself, as you probably could expect. And I love that it goes with the whole rhyming scheme. Murky, Lurky, and Herky Jerky. And all of his text in his speech bubbles is like that. It's a very computerized looking font. It's great. I love it. Taylor does such a great job with the lettering. I had to point it out. But so Herky Jerky's like, y'all need to stop, put down your weapon. And Wisp is like, this is not a weapon. I don't know, whatever. He thinks that the Star Scepter is some kind of weapon. So her and Red are real quick like, okay, what are we going to do? Okay, you run that way. I'll run this way. We'll try to confuse him and get past him, whatever. So they do, but Herky Jerky is a little too fast. Or I don't know if too fast is really the word, but he uses his computerized, what does he say? Because Red's like, how did he know which way I would be going? Because he captures Red, and Herky Jerky is like, determining the correct point to intercept you is simple work for my computerized systems. Which, great. It's just funny that he talks that way. But yeah, he captures Red, and then Whisk is like, what now? And Red's like, Whisk, run! And that's the end. To be continued. Oh, you can do that. Yes, to be continued. And this is the next issue. Still her in the red. So I assume we're going to see even more of that in the next issue. And there's only one issue left in this arc. Okay, my predictions. I have zero knowledge, so I'm just going to put my predictions out there. Because Red is captured right now, but Wisp still has the red speedster power. Twink is still around. And Starlight is out there with potentially a guilt complex. So my idea, my theory is that Twink is going to initially help somehow. Either freeing Red or doing something else to help Wisp get the green color guardian. But I also think that Starlight's going to come back and help in some way, even if it's just to run past and be another distraction. That could be saved for a future arc, but I would personally like it if he came back in the next issue. If he felt bad, like, real quick, then I would have more faith in him. If it takes him a while to feel bad that this girl just rescued him and he just took off, then I might be a little more angry at him, but whatever. I'll get over it. I'm sure he'll come back eventually and be wonderful. But that's my thought, that he's going to come back, and those four, if they can get Red away from Herky Jerky, will be able to rescue the green color guardian and Romeo. Did I mention Romeo yet? Romeo has also been captured and is being held, I think, in the same prison mine. And so his name is still Romeo. Yay! So I'm guessing the rest of the sprites will probably keep their own names like Twink and Romeo have so far. But who knows? But I just had to throw that out there. I was like, yay, another name that's the same. So I'm hoping by the end of the next issue they will rescue those two. And then that'll be it until the next arc, which I really hope there's going to be, because that's not nearly enough. There's still so far to go. But yeah, that's issue 4, and I left a lot of things out because I talk way too much when I leave them in. So I'll leave that to my longer video for my Patreon sponsors. If you want to watch it, you can subscribe. Not subscribe, that's not the word. You can become a sponsor for as little as $1 a month, and you'll have access to it. So, yeah. That's patreon.com/rainbowbrightnet, if you're curious. That's all I'm going to say about it today. And I love it so much. I can't wait for the next one. I don't know exactly when the next one is coming out, but now that they have the new artist established, I'm hoping it'll be the regular, 4-week schedule. So 4 weeks from yesterday, the 20th, whatever date that is, but I don't know for sure. I will try to find out, and as soon as I do, I will let you guys know. And I've got some merch hauls that I need to do. Sorry, Janine, I'm way behind, but I will try to get to those soon as well. But I had to jump on and review this comic because it's great, and I want more of it. So, until next time, have a rainbow day. Bye!